The biggest question everybody asks when joining a team or starting a team is, how do real estate teams split actually work? Who gets paid what for doing what? So what I'm going to do in this session, in this video, is I'm going to share with you not only how we pay a buyer's agent, but I'm going to give you the actual contract. So stay at the end. I'm going to lay it out for you. I'm going to take you through what we do, and then I'm going to give you the contract we use in hiring buyer's agents. Now, this is something that's only available when you're in private coaching with Workman Success Systems, but I want to make it available to you, those of you that are taking your time to watch this video. So let's talk about how do splits work. Well, I have to tell you that nobody should tell anybody else what they have to pay or what they should pay another agent. What I can tell you is that there are best practices in being profitable. We have agents that run their teams, and at the end of the year, they look at their profitability and they made a lot more money when they were by themselves because they create compensation that disincentivizes the behavior that they want from their team. So don't make that mistake. Your job as a team leader is to create stability and security for your team members, and the only way I know how to do that is to be profitable. The benchmark for profitability is I want you at a 50% gross profit after your cost of sale. That means if you pay 50-50 to a buyer's agent and then you cover all the expenses of being in business, your business relationship will be at a balance. So in our buyer specialist agreement, there are 4 main sections. The first one talks about the obligations of the buyer's agent. What's their job? Their job is to work with buyers, to prospect, to go out and show homes, to negotiate contracts, and they have to become experts in the marketplace. Next is they have to have all the information collected on the buyer put into the database, and they have to use the Workman Success and your team-generated systems if they're going to stay on the team. The outcomes that we want are we want to have great trackers using the Daily Success Habits Tracker. We want to make sure they understand that they are the extension of the team leader and they are the front line of support to that buyer. They have to show up every day and participate in our daily huddles. They have to write contracts and negotiate the contracts and understand why contracts fall apart and make sure that they're putting things in place to keep the deals together. They provide assistance during home inspections and letting the vendors in the properties. They provide leads for the listing agents when your buyer has a house to sell, and they develop and they feed the buyer inventory. So the key is if there's no homes on the market, the job of the buyer's agent is to go out there and find a property. I don't care if you have to knock on doors or call people or do cold calling. We look for inventory. Your job is to find the opportunities or the homes a buyer can buy. The acceptable behaviors that we outline in the contract are to complete the work in accordance with all of our governing laws, regulations, ordinance, and ethics, to meet deadlines without exception. We do the right thing when it's supposed to be done, and we try and over-deliver. We engage in a positive way with other colleagues at work. You don't show up, bring your drama to the office. You got to show up with energy and enthusiasm. I mean, my gosh, we're in sales. When somebody calls, we tell them, I want you to return that call within minutes and maximum of 2 hours. If 2 hours goes by, you've probably lost the client. You have to set for the tone for the other agents that we're hiring. They need an example of how to do it right, and they're going to look at you to do that. So we make sure every agent knows they're the example. So if every agent behaves like they're the example, you'll have a lot of good examples on your team doing the right things. They have to promote and support the philosophy of the team leader in the way that we customize our interactions and support our clients. And then they have to conduct business with the office's culture in mind, and that is that we serve regardless of opportunity. And then obviously, and you wouldn't have to say it, but I want to say it anyway, but you have to really be good at prioritizing the needs of the client over the needs of yourself. And that means we don't walk around with commission breath, but we always think and focus on whatever it is that client needs. The commission structure is laid out like this. For a buyer's agent, we want them to be at a 50% gross profit after the cost of sale, which means we don't start them at a 50-50 split. They start at a 40-60 split, then they go to a 45-55 for the next 2 transactions, and then they go to a 50-50 for 5 transactions plus, and it resets every single month. The buyer specialist has to apply everything they learn in buyer agent mastery to being great at this business. For some reason that the agent gets a different split, then what I recommend that a team leader does is you grandfather them on the split that you're on, but then you have them pay for the a la carte services they need that you can't afford to provide when they're on something different than the split that I outlined. For example, they pay for a transaction coordinating at $450 per transaction, or they pay for some of their own marketing. Buyer's agent on a 40-60 split shouldn't have any expenses except their MLS dues and and then any additional personal things they need like E&O in order to be in real estate. When it comes to selling or listing properties, the listing agent has the ability to make 25 to 35%. They have the same obligations as a buyer's agent, meaning they list and show properties and they negotiate contracts. The hardest part of business is the client acquisition, and it's the buyer's agent's job and the listing agent's job to stay licensed and current in all the things that they do. So here's a few things to consider when you're putting your splits together. First of all, I want you to think about the concept of if you were going to start a business and you were going to hire someone to come in and check people out in your store, would you let them take 50 or 60 or 70% off the top before you paid for your inventory, before you took out your cost of marketing, and before you paid your rent? Well, it's kind of a silly question. The answer is of course not. Well, if you overpay your buyer's agents or listing partners on a team, you actually have that model. So I want you to think about that. So when you're considering split, let me give you the 8 things to consider when considering splits. Number 1, I want you to create balance in your incentive program. That's finding the right balance between incentivizing the agents and incentivizing the behavior we want from the team leader, and so that we maintain profitability. And this sometimes can be pretty tricky for our team members. The next is fairness and transparency. It's critical that everybody is on a fair and equitable program. You're not trying to take advantage of anybody. You're trying to just compensate them for the work that they do. Number 3 is, does your program, the way you outline it, give you the ability to scale? If you add 5 more agents, do you have to change compensation with each agent, or are you able to leave it the way that it is? Number 4 is the agent productivity levels. As they produce more properties, they earn more percentage, but it always reverts to the beginning because that gives you the highest margin on the first 2 deals they do in a month, so that you have the ability to be profitable. The next is the higher producing agents are going to demand higher splits. I just want you to know that is common. And so when you lay it out where they get 40-60, 45-50, and 50-50, and they can get up to that higher percentage at 50-50, at some point, if they're doing 36 to 48 transactions a year, they're going to come to you and they're going to want a better split. And that's where we have conversations about building their teams within their teams. So that's a conversation you need to have with your coach. Number 5 is the terms of the service and the value. Team leaders make the mistake of not clearly articulating their value. When you come to work for me as a buyer's agent, I'm going to pour into you and I'm going to give you 25 or 30 years of knowledge of everything I've screwed up in this business. You don't have to screw it up yourself. There is massive value in that type of interaction between a team leader who's pouring into their agents. 5 is terms and services. 6 is mastering our standards. 7 is making sure that you know what we're focused on from an economic dynamics perspective. What's the economy doing? How do you compete in it? And number 8 is profitability and growth. It's your responsibility to be profitable in your business and to grow your team by using the contract that we have, going to make edits, get legal advice on it. I'm not your attorney. You're going to get the outline, the job description, and the process to hire rockstar buyers agents, and we're going to give you the entire onboarding and training and development programs so that you can accomplish that. We've talked about complex commission structures, simplifying it, and putting everybody on the same page, grandfathering people in on the program they're on when you roll out the new model, as long as they sign the 10 things to be on your team. And then once you have your roles clearly defined and your responsibilities climbed, then you're off to the races as a team leader. So click on the link below, get your buyer specialist agreement. Keep in mind that the difference between average and exceptional is the exceptional do the basic fundamentals that the average don't know the average knows they should do, but they don't focus on. Let's elevate by doing the right thing in the right order with your buyer agent mastery.